And we are live. How's it going, everyone? Super excited to have our guests on today, who is really no stranger to Solana news. It's been amazing watching their product grow and really come to mainnet and come to fruition. So I'm, of course, referring to Streamflow, who is a suite of application and tools that provides real-time token streaming. So currently, Streamflow has already cleared over 2,500 contracts, mainly USD token streaming. And what does this all mean? We're going to get right into it. Luckily, today I'm joined by Maisha, founder of Streamflow, and then also Louis, who is head of marketing and communications. So amazing to have you guys on. How's it going?
Hi, thanks for
Hey, great.
having us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome to have you
Pleasure to
guys
be
on. Yeah, it's been great watching you guys build. I know you guys have been able to jump on, interact with our team. You even were able to catch Teague at the New York Hacker House. So just amazing being able to work together and watch you guys grow. To really start things off and maybe lay down context for people who don't know what Streamflow is, could you explain what you guys are building and really in the long term what you're aiming to achieve?
yeah, sure, no problem. Thanks for the warm and nice intro. In essence, we like to tell that Streamflow is a token distribution platform, which might seem very broad, but that's where we're going. And currently, we are leveraging a financial primitive, which is called streaming payment. And we built this protocol, and we built applications on top of it. And our first go-to-market product is token vesting as a service, basically. So, Streamflow in general is, just to repeat, token distribution platform. But for now, we have token vesting as a service and progressive payroll in forms of streaming payments.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's really exciting to see how you guys are really leveraging Solana to make something like payments more efficient and also on the regards of token vesting. I saw you guys tweeted the other day. It was just a funny meme. I think it was playing on the Will Smith thing, but how you guys are really providing infrastructure and it makes it easy for people to set up things like token vesting. So I think that's super exciting and paints like a base picture for anyone who may not be too caught up on what Streamflow is. And really, before we dive further in, I think we can just stay here on some context. What I always like to ask is just a little bit about Streamflow's background, the team, how you guys got started. I think it's always exciting for people to hear.
Yeah, of course. Streamflow started as a hackathon project almost a year ago during the Solana season hackathon. So I had two ideas. One of them was not Streamflow, and we didn't work on that one. And the other one was, token streaming idea. And it's good that you're mentioning that we are building this specifically on Solana, not on other blockchains, because there have been attempts to build and leverage financial primitive in form of streaming payment on other blockchains as well, but due to the technical limitations and cost, it's not very efficient to have per second, per minute ongoing continuous payments on other blockchains. And Solana is particularly good at this because of negligible transaction costs and extremely high throughput. So yeah, it really started as a hackathon idea, and with a friend of mine, we started working on it, just hands-on proof of concept, building it. And initially, that hackathon submission went pretty unnoticed. No one was paying attention because basically we built a primitive, we built a brick, and people wanted to see a full-blown product, right? So there was a lot of market research trying to find product market fit and what can this brick be actually used for, right? So there was a lot of talking, discussing, researching with founders of other Solana projects, and like what are their problems, what are their needs. And a few months down the road, we leverage it to make a full-blown service for other people to vest their tokens, basically. And people have been, coming and going in Streamflow, but the current team is 11 people strong and growing. We come from various backgrounds. I am a technical founder, but I found myself not developing for the past 2 months. Now I'm just a founder, but we have people all around the world actually, and we come from various backgrounds to make this high quality team of A players, which I truly believe we are.
Yeah, that's really amazing to hear. Even just starting out with a smaller idea, a couple ideas in the hackathon, doubling down on what became to be Streamflow, but then really figuring out, okay, how do we build this into a full blown protocol, products that more people want
Exactly.
and like to use? I think it's also super great to see the team grow as well. Of course, we know in crypto, it's awesome seeing the diversity that comes to these teams. Can be a little bit difficult being remote, but it seems like most people get it done and are able to leverage it for the better, which I think is super exciting there. And I think to just fast forward a bit, Streamflow has obviously hit the ground running. You mentioned that it was a little bit slow in the beginning, but you guys obviously recently in the past month or so closed a $3.1 million funding round. And I think this is just an amazing precedent that really lets Streamflow hit the ground running, expand. That's obviously really great. I'm curious to take it to the next level, and what have the successes been from this? What were the biggest takeaways? But then what have the challenges been since? I think it really means that once you guys raise, you're ready to scale and really hit the ground running.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as you said, as you put it, there have been like some back and forth on slow periods, slow months where we were finding out the right product market fit. We didn't want to go into fundraising process before the timing was right. But once that resulted, that once we were out there, we had a lot of interested investors into what we were building, right? Because we came prepared, should I say, and with this great help from our investors, we were able to scale the team. And I mean, most of the if your question is like where the money goes, right? Most of the funds go to the people, basically, like making sure that we pay top-notch salaries, and provide good benefits to the people. So that's no extra what is extravaganza, table pools, table tennises, Sonic PlayStations. We just want to focus on the real thing, what really matters, what really brings value, and give people great benefits, and then they like great compensation, and then they do whatever they want with their funds and time.
Yeah, that's great. And to elaborate, just kind of restate my second question, because I might have jumbled it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like, yeah, it seems like this first funding round was amazing for you guys. It really allowed you to get momentum and keep it. What have the challenges been since continuing to grow and scale? What have been the things that
Oh
have
man.
arisen?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think these are particularly specific to Streamflow. I believe every startup out there has these, right? It's like when you are one person team, there is no, like when you're all on your own, right? Doing like a small project, there is no communicational and organizational overhead. But as people as more and more people are joining, the communicational and organizational overhead becomes exponentially bigger, should I say? So, sorry. So yeah, major challenges are finding the people who are really believers and passionate about uh, the future that we see with streaming payment, right? Where money continuously flows, where money never stops, and actually willing to put in um, um, their time and energy and hours, and finding the right people who are the good match with us, because we we could have gone down the road to just hire a lot, and but we've set the bar what we believe is extremely high, and we want to make sure that you work with the best at all time. If you join Streamflow, so those are the main challenges, like finding the right people, setting up the processes right, so there is no too much chaos. Of course, when you're a startup in early stages, there is a lot of chaos, of course, and you have to keep this creative chaos. But if it goes out of control, it's a mess for everyone, because then people are like, we don't know where we're going, we don't know who does what, right? So those are the problems, and we figure out that the industry that we're working is requires a lot of biz dev work, right? So a lot of um, explaining people what can they do, like demos of the app, and really like face to face, even if it's online, but video calls, like getting the customers on board, right? So yeah, that's one thing, and the other thing is, of course, always lack of technical talent, right? So as we are building, both the protocol itself, the primitive, and we are building SDKs on top of the protocol, and we are building actual apps, like applications that use those SDK on top of on top of the SDK. So we're covering the whole stack, and we believe this is the right way to go. So high tech problems.
Yeah, definitely. I
I
think
hope I
that,
hope that I hope that answered that question.
yeah, I actually think that was really good insight, Maisha, because even starting on your first point, the idea of bringing in people that are dedicated, committed, and passionate to what you guys are building is so important. I think that's really how you find people that are going to push the startup forward and really look for the benefit of the company. It's not just like you can go out there and spit fire and hire a bunch of people and it's going to solve your problems. It might even
Yeah.
make the chaos worse. So it's
Mm.
finding people that thrive, the what I would like to call is like the early controlled chaos. They thrive in it and they're passionate about getting to the right answer and solving problems. So I think that's a really good outlook. And it's great to see that that's how you guys are moving forward with Streamflow. And then even tagging on to the second part, you mentioned how you guys are building the full stack there. It's obviously what's
Yeah.
happening on chain, the SDKs, and then what I would imagine is the front end, the app that the users are
Mm.
actually interacting with there. So there's of course that. But in that regard, I think it's been awesome to see developers start coming into the space more and more, specifically Solana.
Of course.
Not that there's still an extremely high demand, but it's awesome starting to see talent come in that regard. Louis, I don't know if you want to touch on this a little bit, but I kind of want to pull you in and just ask how it's been in general with business development, with all of the projects in the ecosystem, onboarding users to something like Web3. What are the challenges? What have you found success in that regard?
Yeah, I would say like the users generally, once we actually get in front of them, they're very positive. We get really positive feedback from the users who are actually onboarded, or when we're doing demos, we get very positive feedback. I guess the big challenge is just getting that scale and getting in front of as many people as possible, and this is something that we're sort of working on. And maybe that's a good point to also plug. Like as Militia said, we're really keen. We're really like looking for people in biz dev, in marketing, in engineering. We have like a very attractive referral program. So if anyone listening is interested, or they're liking what they're hearing, they like the sound of the company culture, then they should definitely reach out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it...
Louis, my man, shilling shamelessly.
No, it's awesome though. It's a great way to grow and expand the team, especially more and more teams I talk to. It's not only technical demand, it is things like biz dev and communications that also is needing expansion. So I think that's important for people listening. And then even just to add my own 2 cents, getting involved in the space is really just showing up and trying to add value. And from there, the path kind of takes itself. If you're really dedicated, committed, showing up and adding value, you can find a spot. And it looks like Streamflow is a great place for that. So little shameless plug there, but super
100%.
excited. Yeah. Jump in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, there's a big focus on engineers, but like what I've observed in the last months in Solana is there's really a place for anyone who can bring value. Maybe they're good at telling stories, like in terms of marketing, in terms of approaching many people, making like a really fantastic pitch, a really exciting pitch for what is a good product. So yeah, I would just encourage people, if they're on the fence a little bit, like there is really going to be a place for you in crypto, and you should take the leap.
100%. Yeah, I echo that, especially jumping in myself.
Yeah, we've had a guy who was just very active in our Discord. Just hanging around, proactively answering questions, then going through the docs, reading the docs, and I was like, dude, you're killing it, right? So now he's like part of the team basically, and he's our community manager officially, but unofficially much more, and he's just getting more and more responsibility within the team as our confidence in him grows, right? So, and this is the beauty of the crypto, right? Doesn't matter if you are from Nepal, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Serbia, Germany, Australia, it doesn't matter, right? We are fully remote first team, and if you can add value and show that you can add value, there is a room and there is a place, for you in crypto and in Streamflow. I would just like to mention that we've been pretty much heads down building and product focused. And we at some point we realized that we need more exposure to the market, and therefore it's not something that we say like just without a reason. We definitely, there is a need for people in marketing, communications, biz dev, market oriented positions. I will not. Okay, I'm stopping there. Just join our Discord, and we have a referral program.
No, I think that's super exciting there. It looks like hopefully my internet's not cutting out. But what I would just echo there is it really does come down to showing up, right? I think that idea of the community manager, someone who is just interested in the project, got involved, and now, like you said, officially community manager, unofficially a lot more. It's really about where you can add value. To pivot off of this a little bit, you were talking about how you guys have been heads down in product. Like that's obviously been you guys building. What can a current user do on the Streamflow platform currently? How can they interact with the dApp?
Louis, you want to take this one? I feel like I'm taking too much of a spotlight. You're muted, man.
Strange. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Right now, like what we have for them, and what most users are sort of gravitating towards is the token vesting product. This has really had a nice adoption, and what we can and this token vesting is like very fully featured. So we really have a lot of granularity that you can use to set the contract exactly how you want. And then we've also got sort of like a streaming product, which would be maybe more envisioned for sort of like a payroll use case, where you're like an early crypto team looking to set up your payroll, looking to get people paid in crypto with that nice functionality that you get with streaming, where you can just be withdrawing as it's streamed to you, by the minute, which is something that we've never really seen before crypto. So these are the two main use cases we have right now that people can expect to play around with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it really solves problems people are having. I mean, even looping back to that example that I gave earlier, it's not something specific to even token investing, but I think it's a great example of how there's a lot of infrastructure that's needed on Solana, where a project doesn't necessarily want to go and build a token vesting contract when they have a backlog of 100 other things to build that are more focused to their product. And this is where Streamflow steps in and really provides that infrastructure, allows people to do it from a simple interface, a few clicks, and then they're able to have token vesting and then even also set up payments to their employees as well. So I think that's super exciting and just a very novel way of having payments. It flips the old model on its head. It gives the people actually working more leverage, real-time access to their funds. So there's multiple upsides in that regard. So I think it was just cool asking and knowing that. Again, I think maybe a more important question that a lot of users would ask themselves is, where does the smart contract security step into this? And what are some of the things that you guys have done to be proactive? Obviously, software has bugs, but it seems like you guys have been fairly proactive in taking security as a priority.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're going to build a program contract, smart contract that's going to be responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars, you have to put a lot of attention and effort into making it secure. So what we did is we first released a completely open source, audited, public, free of charge version for the community to as a public good, basically, to just to give something to the community and build a reputation and a brand of safe, secure, easy to use product. With our major version, what Streamflow for today, as is today, right? We did multiple audits. We even canceled some of the security auditor contract because they just told us that like everything's fine. We didn't find anything. Even like an informational notice, even like a suggestion what you can do better. We were like, no, we don't want to work with you. We want to see how can we improve this. So yeah, we did multiple audits and we did multiple unofficial peer reviews with some of the best developers in the ecosystem. That's one thing. The other thing is we due to the recent events in the Solana ecosystem, especially with some of the big projects, we decided to temporarily close source project and therefore keep any bad actors away from seeing how can they exploit the code. That's our temporary solution. But for each and every team that wants to invest using Streamflow, we provide them total transparency and even access to the code base if the developers want to go and see what's been going on there. I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
No, that's awesome. I think it's very important to see teams being proactive, actively looking for audits. Also, I think it's funny how you guys got upset when you had an audit firm that more or less rubber stamped your code, right? They just kind of glossed over it, and that's not necessarily what you're looking for. And then even going a next step and opening up that code base, having it open source for projects so they can actually go in and vet and see the contract that they are setting up for streaming. So I think that's super exciting to, again, keep moving forward here. There's a lot I want to ask. We are getting closer to the bottom, but I think it's notable to maybe outline a little bit more who the specific users are that are using Streamflow currently, at least the idea that you guys have of it, and then maybe even quantify some statistics. I know you mentioned the TVL a little bit earlier, and then I also threw out that fact in the beginning about the amount of contracts that you guys have. So it would be great to just hear about who are the users that are using Streamflow, and then more specifically, really like what is the quantifiable evidence of people using Streamflow, I guess you could say.
Yes. So in terms of like the main users so far, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, like we're really seeing a lot of strong adoption on the token investing side. And so therefore, we're seeing like a lot of investors, a lot of like project leads, teams looking to use that product. And in terms of, like longer term, we do see the streaming primitive as really being something that could be accessed by all kinds of users, like, from sort of your mum and pop or like small time users. So this is like, I think, an early stage phenomenon that we're seeing those kind of larger users. And in terms of being like more quantifiable, we've really seen like every kind of size of contract, from a few cents, people just like kicking the tires, to up to like 10 million in a single contract, and we expect that to just grow as we're onboarding more and more teams and we see more diversity in terms of the contracts.
Yeah, that's super amazing to really also see the platform being used. People are leveraging it and enjoying the service. So I think that's super exciting. It's not like there's yield incentives or like a false pretense of people why they want to use this. So I think that is super exciting to see that people are genuinely using this to make things easier when building.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
If I might jump in, referring to what you said a couple of questions ago, was that we wanted to be there for people, not to think about things like token investing, payroll, and we'll see what else in the future. Those are like operational things, and something that you as a team building your own thing should not be focusing and putting too much time into. It's like like ordering a lunch. You don't make your own food all the time. I guess you just order it, and then there is a dedicated team like Streamflow that is building these tools for other teams to just use and leverage and not think about it. And I also wanted to mention you some metrics. So you said we had over 2,500 contracts created, and what we found interesting is that like half of those are USD, USDC and USDT contracts. And we found that interesting because we did not focus on providing a payroll product, full-blown payroll product. At first it came out as a, but people are using it a lot, obviously. And apart from that, one important metric I want to mention is that we have more than 100 million TVL, so in our contracts, and that's what we know, right? There are a lot of different tokens whose value in USD is not known at this point, right? Because they're in a private pre-IDO phase.
Yeah, that's awesome insight there. Really, to just see the spectrum of users, right? Whether it's bigger projects really setting up these vesting schedules, also the fact that a lot of this is happening in stable coins, hinting that people are using it for a payroll service as well. So I think that's all super exciting and just shows that the infrastructure that you guys are building is very much needed. And then also packaging it up and making it easy to interact with is super exciting. I know you hinted there at potentially things we can see in the future. That's definitely something I wanted to ask. So we can just jump right into that. What is Streamflow working on? What are some things that you guys have thought about that will continue to add value to users in the ecosystem?
You want
to take this one, Militia? Okay, yeah, sure. So, if you've spent any time in our Discord, you'll see like there's certain requests that just come again and again. And so this has kind of been pretty laser focused for us. And one of those requests is to add batch payments. And so here you can imagine if you're a user and you're trying to create contracts for like hundreds of different recipients, you don't want to just be doing every contract again and again. So this is our primary focus right now, which we're hoping to ship very shortly, to have like a very straightforward, beautiful way of doing these batch payments. And also another thing we're going to be adding with the batch payments is the possibility of receiving a notification in case your stream has been completed or in case the contract is being created. So these are the two things coming down the pipeline very soon. Like in the longer term, we're really excited to see like where we can take this streaming primitive, and how we can sort of execute some new use cases that can really onboard new users. But at this point, Militia can maybe pick that up. Yeah, I don't want to divulge too much.
Yeah, I mean, token investing is our first go-to-market product, but streams go way, beyond token investing. So we believe that payroll is really uncharted territory, and we plan on being pioneers and exploring it, and see how we can replace this model where people are paid once or twice a month for the previous period, and people are paid on daily basis, or if even per second, right? And that alone opens a whole new world of use cases. Like any pay per usage use case is suitable for streaming payments. So if you're renting an apartment, if you're renting a car, bike, paying for a parking, consultancy services, content streaming like video and video streaming, you can just pay for what you watch, and even pay per usage for like gym membership, swimming pools, tennis courts, things like that. And we are excited to see, because we are building, as I said a couple of times, the protocol and SDKs for others to build on top of. And we are actually helping other developers to come to blockchain Web3 world by abstracting all the like heavy protocol development stuff and just providing them with a simple, easy to use JavaScript SDK they're familiar with. So we are very excited to see what other teams are going to build on top of Streamflow and how they are going to just leverage this streaming primitive to find a new use case. These are some of the ones that we've seen where we believe the payroll has a lot of potential and something that we'll be focusing on in the future. But we can also, this like feature market wise, but also like with programmable blockchains and composability and DeFi, you can have streams that are tradable, that are collateralized, that can be presented as an NFT and then fractionalized. So you can do a lot of magic, with your stream. You can have that effect that money never stops. Money always streams. Money always flows. Money always stream flows. However cringe that might sound.
No, that's awesome to just hear. And I'm just going to unpack that. I'm going to be quite honest here. My next question was really diving into that, right? Like, what are some of the things that people can compose with utilizing Streamflow? And I think you talked about how you guys look to abstract back a lot of the complex stuff, really build the tools that developers need to start exploring these things. I don't think there's specifically one thing that you can put the hammer down and know that it's going to be successful, but there's so many different innovative places that you can explore that you just outlined incredibly well, Malisha. Apologies. And then even Louis there in the beginning looks like he gave us a little bit of short-term alpha as well. And something like batch payments is massive. Just to reiterate, it'll make the sending process so much easier to multiple participants. So I don't know, hearing that just got me incredibly excited for Streamflow. There's already a ton of use cases. You can see people utilizing it for the token vesting, even taking it a next step, using it for payments. And I think it's unique how you guys have seen the demand for this and are starting to think about how to pivot a little bit, and not even necessarily pivot, but just leverage what you guys have built to look and innovate in the space of payments.
Yeah. I mean, composability is a word of the day, word of the month, word of the year, I believe. Like everyone is talking about composability, right? But yeah, I mean, we are in constant communication with a lot of different teams, and a lot of progress has been made on various fronts, but we don't want to put any huge announcements and get ahead of ourselves before we actually make it happen. Yeah, because we're not big on just raising too much of a hype and then not delivering, right? We're building iteratively, bit by bit, and then shipping continuously. That's our philosophy.
100%.
Yeah, we're looking to under promise and over deliver as much as possible.
I like that. Yeah, that's amazing. Just keep shipping. When it comes, and it's ready. There's no need to build up the hype. It'll do it itself once you guys actually are able to have the concrete partnership and release out. So I do think it's super exciting what is coming up in the future for you guys. And this really takes me down to the bottom of what I had to discuss. I think we gave a very good overview of the beginnings, really how you guys developed your initial 2 products that you guys obviously have, token vesting and then streaming of tokens, which are similar but a little bit different. And then we just went into everything that is possible in the future, especially as you guys have really hit the ground, kept this momentum going, and really looked to keep growing, building out this infrastructure, looking at what users need and providing those tools, specifically looking down the road of payments. So I think that was super exciting to look into all of that. I'm curious just to open it up a little bit. You guys are obviously incredibly active in the space. I'm curious, what are some of the biggest things that you guys are excited for moving forward in the future, just in the Solana ecosystem?
Yeah, on my side, something I think Anatoly talks a lot about is getting those really consumer-friendly, consumer-facing apps that are going to get millions, tens of millions of users to really get that strong adoption. I'm really excited to see that. We've had a few, for example, there's a few games being built on Solana, and I think they're going to come to fruition in the next year or so, and it'll be interesting to see how they can really crack into that big market. I mean, obviously we've seen NFTs really having a lot of adoption, which is also exciting. And we see some interesting new products like Step-In, which seems to be accessing new users that were not necessarily interested in DeFi, but they see other elements of Solana that's very attractive. Culture, art, games. So I mean, for me, I want to see that next level of adoption where it's really breaking into new demographics and new markets of people.
100%.
100%. I mean, what we've been seeing is that Web3 has been unfriendly to a regular user, like Web2 users, and like the onboarding process is really hard, and if you're not an OG, you might easily get wrecked rugged, confused, and or just lose your private key and things like that, right? So I 100% agree with Louis that we are seeing, and we hope to continue to see this, like really user-friendly applications that solve people problems. So even for the broader demographics, if you're not a DeFi degen, right? But you use Solana, and I mean, sorry, for Streamflow in particular, the goal in the future is to use Solana as a layer, an abstracted, a technical provider that no one actually knows about, and you can do real-time payments with your cards, right? So directly to your bank account, and no one knows that's Solana underneath, and no one has to know, right? No one has to know that even Streamflow is the service provider there. As long as we solve the people problems, we've done a good job. That's my idea. I mean, like the website, you open up a website, web app, you don't know if it's a WordPress, it's PHP, Java, what's running in the backend, and you don't have to know. You just use it, to do your thing and solve your problem.
Yeah, I think it'll be super exciting to watch more and more users come on board, but then also simultaneously see that friction be reduced, make it easier for people to utilize Solana. Maybe in a lot of instances, not necessarily even need to know that they're interacting with the blockchain, but it is giving them more or less censorship resistance and really applying those fundamentals of the blockchain while removing those friction points that a lot of people up to now have seen. There's obviously a lot of work to be done in that regard, but it seems to be picking up more and more steam. I like, Louis, how you specifically mentioned STEPN. I mean, that's not necessarily in the realm of Streamflow, but it's one of those things that is really pushing for mass adoption and getting users onboarded into the ecosystem, which will result in them venturing down into different products, different dApps, and really growing the ecosystem. So I think that's incredibly exciting. Overall, this wraps it up for me. I just want to thank you guys for coming on. It was amazing. I hope everyone watching had as good as a time as myself. If you made it all the way through and you had a great time, that could be a sign that you want to dive more into Streamflow, that you're involved. So what I would just do now is open it up to you guys, Malisha and Louis, and let people know where the best place to get in contact with you guys and any closing remarks.
In terms of like where to get in touch with us, like of course it's pretty much the standard, DeFi stack. Twitter and Discord are the favorite places. So you can find us on Twitter, Streamflow_FI, and then on Discord, you can find our Discord on our Twitter, and we're super happy to have new members in the team in the community getting involved. And as we did mention earlier, I will just show it one more time. We're definitely hiring. So if you have any kinds of exciting talents, just feel free to reach out.
Awesome.
Can I show some more?
Go for it.
we built and developed a referral program for clients, right? So for partners who bring clients to Streamflow, they get a big chunk of a fee, and please just reach out to us on Discord, and we can discuss this, because we've seen people who like really love our product, and they have been bringing people to the product, and then we wanted to like kind of give something back to them, right? And have them have like a very tangible benefit of doing so. So please come to Discord, join, ask questions, and let's keep in touch if you are active in the Solana ecosystem. Let's keep in touch one way or another. We don't have to, we don't have to sell you anything. You don't have to work with us. Let's just keep in touch.
Awesome. Amazing to have you guys on. Really appreciate you taking the time, setting out. I learned a ton more about Streamflow and even just the payment infrastructure that's building out on Solana, what's possible. So with that being said, I think we did an amazing job the past 45 minutes, really outlining what that all meant. So until next time, everyone, we will catch you. Peace out. And thanks